Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome into my channel. If you haven't met me before, hi, nice to meet you. My name is Rebecca. Welcome to my first video of 2026. I'm a 30-year-old Australian mum here in WA specifically, and I am a person with disabilities who is raising a child who also has disabilities. On this channel, you're going to find financial budgeting, goal setting type videos like this one, but also me going through my experiences with my disability journey and also talking through my motherhood experience. So if you like the sound of that and you want to stick with me and join me on, my goal setting and stuff like that for 2026, hit subscribe and turn on the bell notifications. And without further ado, let's dive into the video. This is going to be very, very similar to some of my other videos that I've done already this year. For example, like my yearly financial reset, also my low spend year that I'm planning to do. This one I want to focus on goals. Now, I used to do this almost every year from 22 to 23 to 23 to 24. I didn't do it last year. At least I didn't document it. That's because I was in my gaming YouTube era. That lasted for about a year. Anyway, we're back. We're back to doing like the regular yearly goal reset schedule, recapping on the previous year and going into the goals for 2026. Usually I just like talk through my goals, and I will be doing that, but there will be a lot more show and tell rather than just talking. Before we head over to the computer and go through like my 2026 goals, I wanted to just briefly touch on my 2025 goals. Now, these goals are very vague, they're short and sweet, as Sabrina would say, and they're not very detailed. Now, obviously, 2026 goals are much more detailed, but I really sat and I really thought about it. So here is my 2025 goals and if I did them. My first goal of 2025 was to pay off all consumer debt, and I did eventually do that. However, I did that 3 times over. 3 to 4 times over. I got out of it, went back into it, got out of it, went back into it, and the cycle repeated until I literally paid off the final part beginning of December last year. So at least I went into 2026 with no consumer debt whatsoever, and I am keeping that because I have deleted and I've fully closed all of my I say all of my, I have one Afterpay account, but that's it. I closed that down. I got rid of it. I just delete, out of my life completely. So I will be sticking to that this year. I am going to tick this off, even though I did go in and out of consumer debt throughout the year. I still ended the year consumer debt free. Number 2, only buy secondhand clothing and furniture items. Fail. Big, massive fail. And it wasn't even secondhand stuff that I bought. It was all Temu and all those really shitty other, just crappy, awful, fast fashion, awful conditions websites. Wish, Temu, Shein, all of them. You name it, I shopped on it last year. Shopping was I was definitely a shopaholic last year. It was actually, to think of it, it was probably the worst that I've ever shopped. So there's that. Definitely failed on that. But going into 2026, those goals are definitely going to be redefined and much better. Number 3 was continue therapy. Now, I hadn't started EMDR therapy. I didn't start that until I think it was maybe March was when I first started it, but my goal was to continue therapy, and I did do that. And I even took it one step further into doing EMDR for the first time in my entire life. And I'm still doing that this year. I am going even harder this year with EMDR specifically, because it's been such a big transformative point last year, and continuing into this year. So I did do that, and it's something I'm going to continue into this year. Number 4 was get a work from home job. Now, I kind of did briefly do that for a 3-month contract, but that was it. After that contract sort of experience ended, I have not been able to get a job since. I have been throughout last year, I went to 2 different job providers and got pretty much nowhere. So I'm still with the second one now, as I'd recently changed to them end of last year. So I'm still with them, and I'm currently doing 2 different courses at the moment. Not through them, this is through, I paid for it myself type of thing. So no, if you watch my December research, it wasn't in there because I had paid for it in November, and I paid for it in between months, so it isn't in my November reset either, because I filmed it way before I paid for them. Anyway, yeah, get a work from home job. I'm gonna put a cross off with that, because even though I did get a little bit of experience as a work from home position, which was great, it didn't continue and I wasn't able to get one. Yeah, unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. And number 5, everyone's favorite cliche goal for a year, or resolution I should say, is eat healthy and exercise. Did I do that? No. I think I got more takeaway last year than I ever have previously, and I didn't exercise really whatsoever. Okay, with that out of the way, now let's head over to the computer and go into 2026. Okay, hi, we are in. Welcome into my 2026 yearly goals. I literally started on the 1st of January. Sorry if my voice sounds a bit croaky and stuff. I'm filming this on a different day and it's early in the morning. So moving down, weekly goals, monthly goals, okay, yearly goals, here we go. So personal, we've got process more trauma through EMDR, which I do plan to do. Become more confident with transport, with public transport, and this is also kind of tied to EMDR as well, with processing a lot of the trauma surrounding that with my vertigo attacks and stuff I've had in the past. You know, as a legally blind girly, I can't drive, so I have to catch public transport, and this last year I've definitely, I'm actually, interestingly, my mum kind of brought up the idea of like agoraphobia, I think that's what it's called, which apparently does run in my family, so there is a possibility that I may have developed that a little bit. I do still go out though, like it's not like I'm completely strict, but I have noticed a pattern of just not, like, kind of doing everything in my power to just not go places. Yeah, it's really become a big, like, issue and fear, so that's definitely something I want to get back into and just really get back to myself, because, you know, before I started having Meniere's disease, I travelled as much as I could, you know, here, there and everywhere on transport to, you know, I flew every now and then too, like I've been to New Zealand, I've been to Tasmania, like there's just, I mean, obviously this is over the years, but still, like, I would almost go out almost every day just on transport to, you know, last year I didn't get any public transport whatsoever. So yeah, anyway, that went on a tangent, but that is something I want to work on this year through processing EMDR therapy through that, but also just over time building up the confidence again. Work on emotional regulation. I am really bad with this. I'm getting better. I am getting better again through EMDR therapy and processing a lot of like early childhood emotional trauma, and then I'm able to like regulate a little bit easier, but it's still definitely something that is on one of my top things to process and to work on. That's not a dig at my parents, because I guarantee my parents weren't taught that either, neither were their parents, and it's a generational thing that I am trying to break. The next one is kind of similar, work on better communication. That's, you know, like how I express myself to how I am in conversations. Like I can be very passive aggressive sometimes and not really voice what I'm actually feeling, because I often say it wrong and it comes out wrong with all this kind of stuff, so definitely want to work on communication. The next one is going more dates with my partner. Obviously now that our daughter's going to be going to school 2 days a week for full days, that's going to be a lot easier to be able to achieve, so that'll be fun. I am looking forward to that. Spend more time with family. Now this isn't just like our parents, this is grandparents, cousins, family gatherings, more than just Christmas really. We don't even do birthdays anymore, it's really just Christmas and that's it. And this last one, move house if we can afford it, which again, that will highly depend on if I can get a job, because right now that will highly depend if I can get a job and if it's a decent paying job, because right now I'm earning a little over $2,000 a month. It's just not feasible at this point in time. But if I can move, then that's awesome. Okay, so moving on to my wellness goals for the year. So drink more water, which I have been smashing at lately. I am at nearly day 4 of 4 of drinking an entire one of these. This is like 2 liters of water, pretty much close to where how much I need to be drinking anyway. But yeah, I am really proud of myself. I'm smashing this. Usually I'm really bad with drinking water. It's more so like the taste, but it's also out of sight, out of mind. So I have been putting cordial in my water every day to make it taste nice. And I also do a different cordial every day too, to just mix it up. So I'm definitely already smashing that, so hopefully I can continue for any day for more. So cook more from scratch. I have slowly been starting to do that. Again, if you watched a couple of my other videos, I did speak about how bad my takeaway intake was last year, both financially and just in general. So that's definitely something I want to like really cut back on and just cook more from scratch, because it's healthier. You know what you're putting into your food, you know what you're eating. Limit social media time. Now I kind of go on and off with social media. Like throughout the years, I've had 6 to 8 months of completely cutting social media off, like deleting the apps and everything. And then, I mean, as it is right now, I am not on TikTok. I've not been on TikTok in 7 months. And also now I don't even have the like urge to go on it, because I also have YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels that I do watch. So, but still, limiting social media time if I can, if I'm able to. Next one is stretch more. I've slowly been doing that. I also really want to get a walking pad for my desk setup. I do have a sit to stand desk as it is, and at the moment I hardly ever use the standing function of it. Even though I'll be able to walk outside a lot more now, there's still, winter months and stuff like that where I can absolutely utilize it and still get steps in, stretches, exercise, all of that. Definitely want to do more of that this year. Next one is a numbers goal, I guess, and that's read 10 books. I just got Audible back on. The first book I'm reading is Molly Burke's Unseen book. I've read her other books as well. I really love her. The types of books I want to read too are going to be very different this year, apart from I'll still probably definitely read some young adult stuff, but I definitely want to read more financial books, and just more proper, not really self-help, but I guess more building confidence book, and maybe even some therapy books as well. So if you have any recommendations down below, let me know. I have read the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins already. Love that book. I've also read a lot of Elizabeth Gilbert, which I really love. Her Big Magic book, that's one of my favorite books. I have not read much financial books except for, I can't quite remember what book it was, I can't remember it, but I'll pop it up on screen of what I've read financially wise. So if you have any books, and if you do give me recommendations, please, if you can, stick to Australian financial literature, because that's where I am, that's what I know. So that would be extra bonus points. And again, this kind of is actually into this one, which is what I've already talked about. So, light exercise and, stretches and buying a walking pad. So that's it for my wellness goals. Now, financial goals. Buy good quality products and clothing. Fingers crossed I can actually do that. Invest over $1,000. This is for over the year, because I'm only doing $100 this year. So technically, if I stick to that, I'm going to reach over that goal anyway. But it would be nice if I could do even more than that. So we'll see where we go, but that's my goal point at the moment. Any sort of investment is better than nothing, even if it is $1,000 for the year, that's still better than nothing. Next one is to max out all of my savings goals. Get my first YouTube paycheck. That's a decent one. That's a big milestone to reach, and obviously I'll be able to go more of that into my yearly goals for career. But look, getting any sort of YouTube paycheck would be wonderful. I'm not monetized at the moment. I don't have 1,000 subs. That's a goal this year, is to reach 1,000 subs. Yeah, so that's a pretty big reach for me. But hey, I put the goal there, so I'm gonna put my foot to the metal. Look, it's there, it's a goal, I'm gonna try and reach it. Last one, no afterpay or pay in full schemes. I spoke about this in my low spend actually, and so yeah, I won't go into too much detail about that, but yeah, definitely no more afterpay. I've already deleted it and closed that account. Now, for those that don't know, when you reach 1,000 subs, you don't automatically get monetized unless you also have, I think it's 3,000 watch hours. So you have to have both within the last 90 days or something like that, or 30 days or whatever it is, to get qualified to put your application in to get monetized, and start earning money. Those are kind of separate goals, because I know that, just because I have 1,000 subscribers doesn't mean I'm automatically monetized. But in order to even attempt to get monetized, I have to, at least for my comfortability and for the potential that I want my channel to go to, is to reach 1,000 subscribers. Now, I think when you reach 500, you can start to earn a small bit, but it's not really monetized, if that makes sense. At least that's my understanding of it. The next one is post more YouTube shorts. I am really bad with this. I want to find a website or an app or something that you don't have to freaking pay a subscription for, or whatever bullshit that is, which unfortunately I think is a lot of it these days. Finding an app or a website that I can post maybe not upload, but just share a link to my long form content, and then that automatically, even with AI, if it automatically picks out highlights and does a short like that, I'm fine with that, just because otherwise it is a lot of extra work to do, and I'm a mum and I'm studying and I'm looking for jobs and I'm doing therapy and all that sort of stuff, so, and I'm also going to have a school kid, so it's just not feasible at the moment to do long form content and then also edit short form. If you have any recommendations for that down below, that would be wonderful as well. And my last two are pretty similar. Get a medical reception work from home job, since that's the study that I'm doing, or get a social media marketing work from home job, which is also the other course that I'm doing. So either or is fine. I'm fine with getting either, but if I get both, that would be wonderful. So that's going to be it for my video today. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know down below any goals that you have for 2026, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.